You've been receiving messages your entire life and you've been ignoring most of them. Right now, as you listen to these words, the universe is arranging coincidences around you with mathematical precision that would make Einstein weep. But here's the delicious paradox. The moment you start hunting for these synchronicities, they vanish like smoke. And the instant you stop caring about them, they multiply like rabbits in spring. What I'm about to share with you isn't just about meaningful coincidences. It's about discovering that you're not a separate observer watching random events unfold, but an active participant in a cosmic dance so intricate, so perfectly choreographed that calling it coincidence becomes the greatest understatement in human history. So, settle in, because we're about to explore the most beautiful secret, hiding in plain sight. Let me tell you about the moment everything changed for me. I was walking through a London bookshop in 1958, wrestling with a philosophical problem that had been tormenting me for weeks. As I reached for a book on Eastern philosophy, another book fell from the shelf above, landing open at exactly the page, containing the answer I desperately needed. Now, you might say, well, Alan, that's just coincidence. But here's where it gets fascinatingly strange. That same afternoon, I encountered 3 different people who, without knowing each other or my dilemma, each mentioned the exact phrase from that book. By evening, I was listening to a radio program where the host quoted that very same passage. When coincidences start clustering like this, something magnificent is happening. You're witnessing the universe's way of getting your attention, like a cosmic tap on the shoulder saying, "Pay attention. Something important is unfolding here." But what exactly are these synchronicities revealing? They're showing us that the world isn't the spherical, mechanical, disconnected clockwork we've been taught to believe in. Instead, reality operates more like a vast living organism, where every part is intimately connected to every other part. Think of it this way. When you are truly in harmony with the natural flow of existence, events begin arranging themselves around you with an intelligence that appears almost supernatural. It's as if the universe itself is conspiring to support your journey, but only when you're moving in alignment with the deeper currents of life. Carl Jung, that brilliant Swiss psychologist, called this meaningful coincidence. Events connected not by cause and effect, but by meaning and significance. But I want to suggest something even more revolutionary. Synchronicities aren't special events that occasionally interrupt ordinary reality. They're glimpses of how reality actually works all the time, once you develop eyes to see it. Now, here's where most people get delightfully tangled up. The moment you decide, right, I'm going to start noticing synchronicities everywhere. The universe seems to go on strike. It's rather like trying to catch your own shadow. The harder you chase, the more elusive it becomes. This isn't cosmic mischief, my friends. It's pointing to something profound about the nature of awareness itself. When you're desperately hunting for meaningful coincidences, you're operating from a state of wanting, of lacking, of separation. You've positioned yourself as a needy observer, trying to extract meaning from an uncooperative universe. But synchronicities arise from the exact opposite state, from a relaxed, open awareness that's not grasping for anything. It's like being in love. The moment you stop trying to make someone love you and simply become lovable, love appears everywhere. Similarly, when you stop demanding that the universe send you signs and instead become genuinely attentive to what's already happening, the signs multiply beyond counting. The secret is this: synchronicities don't happen to you. They happen through you when you're transparent enough to let the universe express itself without interference. Western science has given us 2 ways to understand events. They're either caused by something else or they're random accidents. But synchronicities belong to neither category. And this drives the rational mind absolutely wild. They're not caused in any linear sense. Yet they're clearly not random either. Let me illustrate with a story that still gives me chills. A woman I knew was struggling with whether to leave her marriage. One morning she found a wedding ring on her doorstep. No explanation, No owner to be found. That afternoon, she received a phone call meant for someone else about divorce proceedings. That evening, her favorite song came on the radio just as she was thinking about her husband. A song about new beginnings. Now, did the universe conspire to create these events? Or were they always there, waiting for someone in the right state of awareness to notice them? I suggest it's both and neither. Synchronicities exist in a dimension beyond our usual categories of thought, in what I like to call the realm of meaningful pattern, where significance and circumstance dance together in ways that bypass ordinary causation. This isn't mystical nonsense. It's recognizing that reality is far more interesting and interconnected than our measuring instruments can detect. You know, the universe has been trying to have a conversation with you your entire life. But it doesn't speak in English or French or any human language. It speaks in patterns, in timing, in the peculiar poetry of circumstance. And most of us have been deaf to this, suspect, cosmic chatter simply because we never learned to listen properly. Consider how synchronicities actually communicate with us. A book falls open to exactly the right page. You meet precisely the person you need to meet at the exact moment you need to meet them. The perfect song plays just when you need to hear it. It's as if reality itself becomes a kind of living oracle, arranging symbols and situations to convey meanings that bypass the rational mind entirely. But here's what fascinates me most. This language of synchronicity speaks directly to our intuitive understanding. You don't need to analyze or interpret these meaningful coincidences. You simply know what they mean. The way you know when someone is looking at you from P across a crowded room. It's immediate, visceral, undeniable. The universe, it seems, prefers to whisper its deepest truths through the arrangement of everyday events rather than through grand pronouncements. And once you begin to notice this subtle communication, you realize you've been having this conversation all along. You just weren't aware you were participating in it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. How do you distinguish between genuine synchronicity and wishful thinking? Because let's be honest, the ego is absolutely brilliant at turning random events into cosmic confirmation of whatever it wants to believe. I've watched people convince themselves that every red traffic light is a sign from the universe telling them to slow down, or that seeing the number 11 repeatedly means they're about to meet their twin flame. The ego loves to feel special, chosen, cosmically significant, and it will hijack any meaningful coincidence to support its favorite fantasy about itself. But authentic synchronicity has a different quality entirely. Doesn't flatter your ego. It often challenges it. It doesn't confirm what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to hear. Real synchronicities have a kind of objective poetry to them, a rightness that resonates beyond personal preference or desire. Here's my test. If a synchronicity makes you feel superior, special, or chosen above others, be suspicious. If it humbles you, opens you, connects you to something larger than your personal agenda, pay attention. The universe isn't interested in inflating your ego. It's interested in dissolving the barriers that separate you from the whole magnificent dance. Here's where synchronicities become truly revolutionary. They completely shatter our conventional understanding of time. According to our clocks and calendars, events unfold in neat linear sequence, past, present, future. But synchronicities operate by entirely different rules, as if past and future were somehow reaching into the present to create meaning. Let me share something that still mystifies me. Years ago, I had a vivid dream about meeting a woman with distinctive red hair in a garden filled with white roses. 3 days later, I found myself in exactly that garden, meeting exactly that woman, having exactly the conversation I dreamed. Now, which came first, the dream or the experience? Or were they somehow the same event experienced from different angles of time? Synchronicities suggest that time isn't the rigid one-way street we imagine. Instead, it's more like a vast ocean where waves from different directions can meet and create interference patterns of meaning. The future seems to cast shadows backward while the past reaches forward, all converging in moments of perfect significance. This isn't merely poetic speculation. When you're living synchronistically, you begin to sense this fluid nature of time directly. You feel events gathering significance before they happen, as if meaning were organizing itself around you, like iron filings around a magnet. And this brings us to the crucial insight. Synchronicities only reveal themselves to present moment awareness. When your mind is racing into the future or rehashing the past, you become blind to the magical timing that's constantly unfolding around you. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how synchronicities seem to cluster during periods when you're most relaxed and attentive? During vacations, perhaps, or after meditation, or in those golden moments just before sleep. It's not that more meaningful coincidences are happening. It's that you're finally awake enough to notice them. Presence is like tuning a radio to the right frequency. The music was always broadcasting, but until you found the precise wavelength, all you heard was static. Similarly, the universe is constantly arranging meaningful patterns, but they only become visible when your awareness is clear and undivided. This is why the ancient masters emphasized being here now so insistently. They weren't advocating some spiritual technique. They were pointing to the only place where the miraculous can be perceived. Past and future exist only in thought, but synchronicities exist only in reality. And reality, my friends, is always happening right now. So what happens when you truly understand this? What happens when you stop fighting the current and start swimming with it is less than #0. 5 is greater than your entire approach to living undergoes a fundamental transformation. Instead of forcing your way through life like a bulldozer, you begin to dance with circumstances like water flowing around rocks. I've discovered that when you are truly aligned with this synchronistic flow, decision-making becomes almost effortless. The right choices reveal themselves through the arrangement of opportunities. Doors open exactly when you need them to open. The people you need to meet appear precisely when you're ready to meet them. It's not that you become passive, quite the opposite. You become incredibly responsive to the subtle cues that life is constantly offering. This doesn't mean everything becomes easy or that you'll never face challenges. But the challenges themselves begin to feel meaningful, perfectly timed for your growth. Even difficulties arrive as synchronicities, bringing exactly the lessons you need when you need them most. You start to trust that whatever is happening is, somehow, exactly what should be happening, even when you can't understand why. Living this way requires a peculiar kind of courage. The courage to trust in an intelligence far greater than your personal planning mind. It means releasing the exhausting illusion that you must control every detail of your existence, and instead learning to cooperate with the mysterious wisdom that's already orchestrating everything. And now, my friends, we arrive at the most beautiful secret of all. Are you ready for this? Is less than #0. 5 greater than synchronicities aren't messages from some external cosmic intelligence trying to communicate with you from out there. They are expressions of your own deepest nature, recognizing itself everywhere. You see, what we call synchronicity is what happens when the artificial boundaries between self and world begin to dissolve. When you're no longer experiencing yourself as a separate entity trapped inside a bag of skin, the entire universe becomes an extension of your own being. And of course, your own being would arrange itself in meaningful patterns. That's what intelligence does. The great joke is this. You've been looking for signs from the universe, when you are the universe. You've been waiting for meaningful coincidences, when you are the meaning that makes coincidences possible. Every synchronicity is your own cosmic nature, playing hide-and-seek with itself, leaving breadcrumbs for you to follow back home to your true identity. This is why synchronicities feel so deeply familiar, so right when they occur, you're not witnessing something foreign or supernatural. You're recognizing your own handiwork. The entire cosmos is your own mind in action. And synchronicities are simply moments when you catch yourself in the act of being everything at once. So the next time a meaningful coincidence unfolds around you, don't just marvel at its beauty. Recognize it as your own signature written across the fabric of existence itself. And here we are, having followed this thread all the way to its source. You came seeking to understand synchronicities, But what you've discovered is far more profound. You've glimpsed the secret that mystics and poets have been trying to convey for millennia. You are not a stranger in a strange land, but the very intelligence through which the cosmos comes to know itself. So go now with this awareness. Stop searching for signs and start being the sign. Stop waiting for the universe to speak to you and start recognizing that you are the very voice through which it speaks. The dance has always been yours. You just forgot you were dancing. Remember this and watch as your